If there's one thing you take away from listening or watching today's podcast episode, it's to take chances on people and to take chances on yourself. They can lead to some of the most amazing, not just opportunities, but adventures. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Badassery. I'm your host, Christine Lozada. Today's podcast episode is about some of the travels I've taken as a result of the risks I've taken and the chances I've taken on people and myself. But this is a podcast meant to inspire you to be just 1% more badass today than you were yesterday. Our huge badass moments in life are usually a culmination of our small badass moments. And a lot of these stories are going to be a perfect example of that. I want you to journal along with me. Please do not learn something without taking action. The Badassery Journal is free. It's link in the description below. You can download it and journal along with me. All right. Are you ready for some story time? Some of these stories are, they're fun. All right. Let's start with the first one because I just came back from Bonaire for the second time. If you don't know where Bonaire is, it's part of the ABC Islands. ABC meaning Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. Most people know Aruba, but not the other islands. And Bonaire, probably of the three, is the least known because it's the least built up, and it really is for divers. It's a shore diving destination. And it's about 55 miles off the coast of Venezuela. So that's the part of the world that we're in right now. And I've had an opportunity to go to this island twice as a result of meeting someone randomly online. Let's talk about that. So I would say let's backtrack about a year and a half ago. I had put out a YouTube video about something I love a lot, which is flying drones. And I was helping people with something that most people don't understand, which is how to take horizontal drone footage and make it vertical. And a lot of people saw this video, including this one person who is the founder and CEO of an ocean nonprofit. And he was interested because I love chasing summer. I love chasing beach destinations around the world. He was interested in having me on board as part of his creator team. Let's create beautiful ocean photography, videography, and let's share it with the world with this intention of helping more people to become aware of the ocean and how their everyday actions affect the ocean. At that time, I was really busy. And when he asked me to meet with him over Zoom, I was like, I really don't have time for this. But if I listen to my heart and I listen to my gut at that time, and this is one of the dark sides of being a creator, oftentimes a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people I know who create will find themselves getting lost in what they stand for and what they're creating for. And something that they make might go completely viral. And then that makes them money. And then they keep doing that one thing. And it might not be anything like what it is you want to do. That's how some of my creator friends have gotten into the realm of this one guy. He wanted to talk about travel, but all of his videos went viral about him just stuffing his face. So now all he does is he eats on video, and that's it. And I'm like, does that really make you happy? I mean, it gets you a lot of views. Does that really make you happy? And he's like, it gets me paid. And I'm like, that sucks. In my opinion, that doesn't suck for everybody. But what I was looking for was more things that felt purposeful for me in what I create. This podcast is a perfect example. I purposely turn off all monetization to turn off the ads for this podcast on YouTube. I make no money from it so that people can enjoy an ad-free experience and listen to it all the way through, because it's really my way of trying to give back of some of these really powerful stories of travelers that I meet while I'm on the road. And what I'm trying to share here is at that time, I was really busy with other projects and opportunities. But at the same time, someone was asking me if I wanted to use my work, my drone work, my videography of the ocean towards something that is a really good purpose. And when I thought about it from the perspective of, oh man, like this is totally in line with what I need and the direction I want to move in as a creator, I was like, let's let's meet. And so we met and we had this Zoom chat that was awesome. And I had the opportunity to meet Henthorne, a phenomenal, it's hard to call him a photographer. I think of him as being more of an artist. His work is amazing, really amazing. And a month after we met, I started flying my drones and capturing ocean videography for the project that he's working on. And some of that has been soft launched, by the way. I will link it in the description and in the show notes of this episode. It's amazing. You should check it out. But then he came back and he asked me, hey, like Team One Blue Ocean, this is the nonprofit, One Blue Ocean. We're going to Bonaire. Do you want to go? And my reaction was, what's Bonaire? Or rather, where's Bonaire? I'm like, what do you do there? And it was an opportunity to go shore diving and to fly drones and capture really, really beautiful ocean views. If you are watching today's podcast episode, you will see a lot of that on the video. And so I took this chance and I was like, yo, I met this guy a month ago, but we had a really great conversation. He seems really interesting. And when I was chatting with him, his heart really is with what he's working on the ocean with his nonprofit. And he seemed really interesting and just everything about it felt right. And, on like the surface level, I'm sure if I told my mom about this at that time, she'd be like, sorry, you just met this man online and now you're going to go travel with him for a few weeks to some part of the world you've never been to before and go scuba diving, one of the most dangerous activities you can do while you have no one else leading the dive except this guy you just met, because he's not yet a dive master, but he knows how to scuba dive pretty well because he's done it over 4,000 times. Yeah, that's exactly what I went and did. And it was amazing. And I just got back from my second time in Bonaire with him, fast forward a year later. But taking that chance on Henthorne and One Blue Ocean is what also led me to go to the Maldives and fly drones off of a yacht in which I got to scuba dive and see manta rays for the first time in person in the water in my life. And that was a really big chance. And one of the questions I like to ask people is like, tell me about moments of doubt. Like, when did you have doubt? Like, did you ever think like, oh, this could go really poorly? Yeah, of course. But then at the same time, you also think of like, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? And what are some examples of things you could do if it didn't work out? I could have ended up in Bonaire and it could have been, I don't know, weird or uncomfortable or something. And I would simply just go stay somewhere else and do my own thing on the island and have a really great time, probably chilling and drinking on the beach. That doesn't sound so bad, right? Like, there are so many different things that could have happened. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I'm also an adult who can take care of herself and I can get myself out of challenging situations, and I simply need to adjust as I go. Do I know what it's going to look like? Do I know what this trip is going to be like? Do I know this guy and that he freaking loves playing Uno? And I play Uno with him enough. I played enough Uno with him that I don't need to play for the rest of my life, is kind of how I feel about that. But it all was what it was. And it has been one of the most rewarding things of my life. I've been able to see things in the ocean and experience things I never otherwise could have without meeting Henthorne. So Henthorne, I'm sure you're not listening to this, but if you are, thank you. And make sure you check out One Blue Ocean, info on that in the description below. Are you ready for story number 2? It's about Meatball, aka my boyfriend, which, if you missed that episode, the title of it on this podcast is I was married, he had a girlfriend, and the rest is history. But let's talk about taking chances. So when I met him on a cruise, the number one place you're not supposed to meet someone, by the way. I met him on a cruise. And when I did, I truly tuned in to my gut and my heart, because he and I are very different people. I am born and raised in North County, San Diego, by parents who were born and raised in the Philippines, and they wanted everything. They wanted to give the world to their daughters, and they sheltered the crap out of me. Like, I grew up in a very cushy upbringing, and was very naive for a very long time. I'll just put it that way. Versus Meatball grew up in the Bronx. There's probably nice parts of the Bronx. He did not grow up in the nice part of the Bronx. He grew up around a lot of death and a lot of drugs. And so he and I are just very different people. Yet when I listened to my gut and my heart, there was something about him that was so interesting to me. And part of it was because our values were so similar. For example, our values around loyalty to the people we really love, how we really treat it as a ride or die kind of relationship, or our values around work ethic. He's all about really hard work, or how much we both value street smarts over book smarts. I mean, granted, I went the educational route, him not so much, but my street smarts, in my opinion, have gotten me so much further in life than studying at Berkeley or anything else I've ever done in the academic space. Those have opened doors and opportunities for me, but what helped me to step through those doors were my street smarts. And so he and I had a lot in common around values and things about us that were of the things that were the most important to us. And so my gut and heart said yes all the way. And I mean, I took a really big chance because right after I met him, I flew out to Florida for what I would call, if that weekend that weekend was the best weekend of my life. I felt after that weekend, or even now, if I died today, that goes down as being the best weekend I've ever had. He and I fell in love a million times over that weekend. And 10 days later, I completely shut down my life in San Francisco and I moved to Florida. Like, do you even know what that means? Like, I gave away my belongings. I packed up. I left a city I was living in for how many years had it been? Maybe 3 years. And then just completely left, uprooted my life and came to Florida to take a chance on him. Now, fast forward, we're going on almost 5 years, and he has been the best adventure of my life. I've never felt so close, so connected, and so in love with someone. And it's just a chance that I took while I was traveling. And now he and I have seen the world together, and I already know many more years to come. And so these are two stories of people that I've taken really big chances on, traveled with or for, and then just started living a different kind of life as a result of being involved with these people. And so my last story is around taking a chance on yourself. And this one really comes top of mind for me because I recently asked somebody to be on my podcast, and he was like, "Wait, me? Like me? Like what? Little old me? Like no, like I am." Translation: he felt like he was not talented, not capable, not interesting, not fill in the blank with all the other things that I think makes this person amazing, and their story needs to be shared. And he just didn't see that in himself at all, like not even a tiny bit. And I think it's so important to see the value that you uniquely bring to the world. And if you don't see it in that moment, but someone else does, take a chance and be open to believing in it, and thinking that it might be true. I was given the opportunity from my talent agent to go audition for a really interesting role. I'll just say that. And when I first looked at it, I was like, wow, I am probably the least capable person of doing this out of all the probably thousands, if not tens of thousands of people who are going to audition for this role. And in the same breath that I was completely having doubt in myself, I can't do that. Like, I'm not nearly as talented. I have no acting experience. I have some video experience. I have, and I was just shooting myself down. And in the same breath, I was like, why not? Why not? One of the really, really phenomenal, creative, talented designers that I used to work with in my old life, her name is Yuka. One of the things I loved that she would always say to me when we would talk crazy ideas is she would just say, why not? Why not? And it's something I've always carried forward in moments where I've doubted myself or doubted a moment or doubted my ability or doubted whatever it is. I'll just say, well, why not? Why can't I do that? Why not me? Why wouldn't I get chosen? And you know what? It is guaranteed that I'm not going to get picked if I don't try out. If I don't submit an audition tape, I have a guaranteed no to that opportunity. And I decided in that moment I was going to give it my best shot. And I turned on my camera, and it's one of those things where it's like, as soon as you doubt yourself, yeah, you're going to mess up. As soon as you tell yourself you can't, you can't. And I remember doing that first take on the audition tape, and I messed up. And I started doubting, I started doubting myself, and then I messed up. And I was halfway through it. I was doing really good up until that point. And then I basically just fell on my face. And I stopped the video. And one of the things I always do when I'm having moments like this is I hype myself up. And that looks different in different situations. But in this situation, it was telling, I'm not going to say her name right now because then it will actually turn on. I tell the device that is a speaker that is in the room, that is a smart home connected device. And I say, play Earth, Wind, and Fire September, which is like one of the funkiest songs I know that I love. And I will dance for the whole thing and just like be super weird. And then I will sit back down, and I filmed the second take. And this is a 5-minute audition tape in which I am just spewing information required in the audition tape as cheerfully and excitedly and as interestingly as possible without messing up and without saying a single or anything like that or other filler words, which is really hard. And then also not look at the notes and memorize all the lines and all the points I need to make and make it all come together nicely at the end with a beautiful close at exactly 5 minutes in length. I did it in that second take, and I just knew it was good. And I took the chance and I blasted it off, and I got the call. And it's been an interesting ride because it's an amazing opportunity in which I'm filming this in October 2022. In the last 5 months, I have not understood what I'm doing, for how long, when it starts, where it starts, how long it goes for. I basically don't know anything about it, but I just know it's happening. And fast forward to now, I got all of those details, or most of them, not all of them. I got most of those details about 30 hours ago. And my flight leaves in 12 hours. And I'm just going to go start this thing. I just finished packing, and I'm taking a chance on something I don't really know what the outcome will be, but I know in my gut and I know in my heart, it's going to be really freaking cool. And the next adventure I'm about to go on will be traveling all around the United States in a different way than I've ever traveled before, doing really unique and cool work that, similar to my work with Wind Blue Ocean, is going to be really impactful in giving back, using what I know as a creator to do more purposeful work and to truly give back to the world. So I am very excited about this. And so again, if there's one thing you take away from listening or watching today's podcast episode, it's take chances on people and take chances on yourself and truly believe in yourself. Because, like even though I kind of know what I'm doing next, I don't really know, but I believe in myself, and I believe it's going to be a really fun adventure. Did I know what this last trip or the first trip to Bonaire was going to be like? Absolutely not. Actually, even on this past trip in Bonaire, Henthorne calls me. He's like, I'll be at the airport. We are picking you up. And I was like, oh, cool. Who's we? Like, I don't even know who else is coming or who else is going to be on this trip. Awesome people. Did it matter that I knew or didn't know who these people are? No, whatever. Which actually very funny. 2 of those people knew who I was because they started doing research on Bonaire on YouTube, and they found me. And then they learned later that they are going to Bonaire with that person. It's kind of a funny story. Small world. But that's the life I live now. And it's all about taking those chances because you don't know what kind of adventure will be waiting for you on the other side. And if it doesn't work out, because it's life, and sometimes it just doesn't work out, believe in yourself to know that you can get yourself out of that situation. I mean, that's what solo traveling is all about. It's all about just finding yourself in one more predicament, and all you got is just you to get yourself out of it. The whole thing is part of the journey. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Everyday Badassery. If you did, please leave a review. It really does help to distribute this. Don't forget about your free Badassery journal. I'm Christine Lozada. Go forth, be badass, and I'll see you in the next adventure. Ciao.